Thousands of homes auctioned, a 400% surge in 2 years leads to bankruptcy for 500,000 families. Frontline Interview, COVID renamed, funeral lamentations echo. Under new U.S. regulations, Teradyne withdraws $1 billion in manufacturing from China. Invited by Pianist to film in the UK, Namewee mocks the CCP again in response. Xi's rule repeats the taboos. German media, Xi is digging his own grave. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Thousands of homes auctioned, a 400% surge in 2 years leads to bankruptcy for 500,000 families. Comprehensive data reveals that the total number of homes auctioned in 2021 was 159,000, and this figure skyrocketed to 796,000 in 2023. In just 2 years, there was a staggering 400% increase in the total number of homes auctioned, causing considerable concern. Behind this rapid surge in auction homes lies the heartbreaking journey of numerous families and businesses facing bankruptcy. Unless heavily indebted and completely unable to repay loans, both individual households and businesses typically avoid having their properties subjected to judicial auctions. This is especially true for individual households, as having their properties auctioned can adversely affect personal credit and indirectly impact their children. Mr. Qi from Guangxi is a vivid example. According to reports from Epoch Times, he operated a restaurant before the pandemic, which closed during the 3 years of the pandemic. Unable to repay the mortgage, the bank repossessed his only residence, turning it into a foreclosed property. However, due to a significant drop in property prices, the foreclosed property faced 2 rounds of discounts and still remained unsold, even at an 80% discount each time. With legal fees, litigation costs, arbitration expenses, and breach of contract fees totaling over $70,000, approximately $10,000 yuan, his debt has now increased from 160,000 yuan, around $23,000, to over 220,000 yuan, around $31,000. According to an analysis by the self-media platform Namewee Bureau, the total number of homes auctioned in 2023 is a staggering 796,000. This includes mainly residential properties owned by individual households as well as commercial properties owned jointly by individual households and businesses, with a minority being industrial properties dominated by businesses. Over 500,000 families may face bankruptcy, leading to the foreclosure of their homes. While the large number of families facing bankruptcy and foreclosure is certainly worrisome, even more concerning is the lack of buyers for significantly discounted foreclosed properties. Despite a listing quantity of 796,000 in 2023, the transaction volume was only 149,000, with a transaction rate of less than 20%. The extremely low transaction rate signifies that the prices of foreclosed homes are likely to continue declining. With such a low transaction rate for foreclosed homes, and except for a few cases where plaintiffs and defendants reached settlements leading to the removal of foreclosed homes from listings, the majority are still in a wait-and-see mode. The market believes that foreclosed properties, already heavily discounted, will continue to undergo further price reductions through auctions. If the prices of foreclosed homes continue to decline, it will undoubtedly increase the economic burden on homeowners, and their outstanding debt figures will inevitably rise, making their lives even more challenging. Frontline Interview, COVID renamed, funeral lamentations echo. In recent days, residents interviewed by Epoch Times reporters and special contributors from Anhui, Hunan, Hainan, and Nanjing, Jiangsu, have expressed ongoing concerns about the COVID-19 situation in mainland China. Despite hospitals being overcrowded, the CCP has renamed COVID-19 to influenza and continues to conceal vital pandemic information, such as death tolls and Chinese vaccine side effects. Citizens also reveal a frequent occurrence of cases where individuals in their 40s and 50s succumb to illness. Mr. Chen, a resident of Mianshan, Anhui, said that a friend working in a hospital revealed that the situation is severe. He mentioned that the virus being currently spread is still COVID-19, but the authorities have given it a new name, calling it Mycoplasma pneumonia or various other names like Influenza A and Influenza B. Despite the new names, it is essentially still COVID-19, and cases of severe pneumonia persist, making treatment challenging. Mr. Chen emphasized that hospitals are indeed overwhelmed. He further stated that in 2024, the government's control over the people has become stricter, restricting their freedom of speech. Zhao Ting, a resident of Sanya, Hainan, revealed that some children are getting infected with the virus. Doctors, however, do not truthfully disclose the nature of the virus, attributing symptoms to common colds or fevers. Zhao speculates that these cases are likely related to COVID-19. Mr. Chen from Mianshan mentioned that many people in their 40s and 50s are dying suddenly from conditions like heart attacks and strokes. He frequently hears funeral lamentations early in the morning, indicating a rise in funeral ceremonies. Funeral homes and crematoriums are overwhelmed, and queues are forming. The increased number of deaths compared to births is resulting in an overall decrease in the population. In Shangqiu, Hunan, Mr. Li observes a surge in sudden deaths, particularly heart attacks and strokes, among those in their 40s and 50s. He notes the influence of CCP's CCTV news in shaping perceptions that these deaths are natural occurrences. In Sanya, Hainan, Zhao Ting reports increased mortality across various age groups, including seemingly healthy middle-aged people, during the pandemic. Hospitals are often vague about the causes of death. The sudden passing of 38-year-old internet celebrity Ren Rongrong on January 26, following a common cold, has sparked further speculation. Mr. Chen from Mianshan expresses distrust in domestic COVID-19 vaccines, accusing government officials of hypocrisy for mandating vaccines they don't take themselves. He links non-compliance with vaccines to movement restrictions, including community exits, supermarket entry, and children's school attendance. Chen views these measures as human rights violations. In Nanjing, Mr. Wu, unvaccinated, reports a swift recovery from a fever and cold with IV therapy. He observes hospitals crowded with severe white lung and pneumonia cases, some in vaccinated individuals. There are also reports of many elderly dying from heart attacks and strokes. Under new U.S. regulations, Teradyne withdraws $1 billion in manufacturing from China. Reuters reported that semiconductor testing equipment provider Teradyne withdrew manufacturing worth about $1 billion from China last year following supply chain disruptions caused by U.S. export regulations. A factory in Suzhou was the primary manufacturing base for Teradyne's semiconductor testing equipment. In recent years, as the U.S.-China tech war intensified and regulatory bodies restricted trade in sensitive technologies like chip manufacturing, many U.S. companies have been working to reduce their dependence on China. In October 2022, the U.S. government issued new regulations to restrict the export of semiconductor manufacturing facilities to China, aiming to prevent U.S. technology from aiding the Chinese military. Following this, Teradyne, headquartered in Massachusetts, moved its production out of China. Teradyne is set to announce its financial results on Tuesday, and the company is expected to warn investors about the potential impact of the new regulations introduced in October 2022. In October 2023, the company stated that these restrictions affected Teradyne's sales to certain Chinese companies and its manufacturing and development operations. Last Friday, Brian Amero, Teradyne's Global Compliance and Ethics Director, discussed the withdrawal of manufacturing from China during an online export conference. Amero stated at the Massachusetts Export Center's annual Export Expo, "We thought the risk was too great, so we moved manufacturing out of China, and it was costly." Amero mentioned that despite obtaining authorization, some suppliers still refused to ship to the company, resulting in supply chain disruptions. The company reported that it eventually obtained exemptions to mitigate the regulatory impact when updating the rules in October 2023 for the testing equipment used after the wafer manufacturing. In October 2022, the U.S. Department of Commerce completely prohibited the export of advanced artificial intelligence chips to China. In October 2023, the Biden administration announced an upgraded version of the chip ban, adding additional export control measures to tighten channels for the Chinese Communist Party to obtain advanced semiconductors and chip manufacturing equipment capable of training artificial intelligence algorithms. The U.S. also introduced regulations requiring companies to obtain licenses when exporting chips to over 40 countries to prevent the CCP from obtaining these chips through intermediaries. Alan Estevez, Deputy Secretary of Commerce and head of the Department of Industry and Security, stated that U.S.-led export restrictions on advanced semiconductor manufacturing equipment to Chinese companies will ultimately hinder the CCP's ability to develop local semiconductors and curb its military technological development. Invited by Pianist to film in the UK, Namewee mocks the CCP again in response. Recently, singer-songwriter Namewee's Lunar New Year song, The People of the Dragon, has gained immense popularity and has been dubbed the new generation's anti-CCP anthem. In the lyrics and props of the song, Namewee incorporated numerous satirical references to the CCP, including 8964, foreign-worshipping dog, counter-revolutionary, dynamic clearance, lip-sync, Huawei, digging, driving test, leave the island without leaving people, poverty alleviation, all past, and leak tastes good. The music video has garnered 2.98 million views on YouTube within 3 days. Brendan Kavanagh, a British pianist with 2.3 million followers on YouTube, faced an unexpected intrusion by a group of CCP Little Pink supporters carrying Chinese flags during his live performance at London Station on January 19. They baselessly claimed that their portrait rights were violated and reported him to the police. However, Kavanagh refused to compromise, uploading the video. To date, the video has garnered 9.47 million views in 10 days. Provoked by the CCP's Little Pink supporters, Kavanagh has since become outspoken against the CCP. On January 26, he returned to London Street Pancras Station with Winnie the Pooh to showcase and deliver a public speech expressing support for Hong Kong and Taiwan in their struggle against CCP hegemony. Several days after the video The People of Dragon went viral, Kavanagh immediately exclaimed, "I love this song," and extended an invitation to Namewee to come to the UK for a joint video shoot. Namewee not only pinned Kavanagh's comment on YouTube and Facebook but also personally replied on Facebook, saying, "Thank you, Dr. K. If you come to Taiwan or Malaysia, please let me know, but don't touch me," teasing the CCP roaring brother who roared, "Don't touch her" at the station, leaving netizens amused. Namewee humorously remarked in response to the invitation, "Many people call me silly for not making money in RMB. Thanks to the assistance from British fans, it seems I can only be silly and earn pounds now." Many netizens expressed their anticipation for a collaboration between the two artists. She's Rule repeats the Taboos, German media, She is digging his own grave. At the end of 2023, a series of significant events unfolded. For example, in Jinan, the capital of Shandong province, large-scale banner projections displaying messages like "Down with the Communist Party" and "Down with Xi Jinping" appeared at Wanda Plaza. This occurrence is yet another example of civilian protest, following the Sidong Bridge incident in Sichuan initiated by Peng Lifan. It also resonates with the growing domestic and international calls for a New Year's Eve festival, a term cleverly used as a homophone for removing Xi. Some analysts believe that Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party's obsession with maintaining social stability and securing the regime effectively amounts to them digging their own hole. In 2007, the CCP initially added New Year's Eve to the list of statutory holidays. However, under Xi Jinping's leadership, it was removed in 2013, briefly reinstated, and then cancelled again on October 25, 2023, leading to public dissatisfaction. It's speculated that the removal might be due to the homophonic resemblance of New Year's Eve to removing Xi, reflecting public sentiment towards the CCP's leadership. Some citizens have suggested exchanging Happy New Year's Eve greetings on that day as a form of protest. Historically, similar instances occurred. Over a century ago, when Yuan Shikai proclaimed himself emperor, he changed the Lantern Festival to Shan Yuan Festival and Yuan Xiao due to the taboo homophony of Yuan Xiao Festival with Yuan Xiao, meaning remove Yuan. Nonetheless, Yuan Shikai couldn't change his fate and only remained in power for 82 days before abdicating. Experts view these actions as grassroots political artistic expression, showing discontent with Xi Jinping's policies and hinting at potential political upheavals. A January 27 article by Deutsche Welle, featuring independent scholar Deng Yuan, notes that early 2024 stock market crash and frequent disasters don't bode well for the CCP. Persisting in governing with a focus on social stability could lead to more policy errors, effectively causing Xi Jinping to create his own problems. Deng Yuan observes that Xi's directive on the Xianyu fire incident, emphasizing social stability, typifies his era's approach of linking disasters with maintaining social stability. Xi's focus on this concept stems from fears that mishandling any issue could turn a safety or natural disaster into a social crisis, threatening stability and political security. Social stability essentially signifies the security of the CCP regime, encapsulating Xi's governance style. He has transformed the CCP's governing system into a personal apparatus, controlling all significant policies and decisions. Consequently, responsibilities and credits once borne by the state now fall solely on him, personalizing national issues. Thus, Xi must avoid mistakes and proceed with caution. However, the past decade has seen Xi's many errors, both major and minor, creating a pervasive atmosphere of danger and pitfalls. The article indicates that with many disasters already occurring in the early part of this year, further major incidents in the coming months wouldn't be surprising. With widespread dissatisfaction among the public and elite and unrelieved economic challenges, social tensions are likely to escalate, impacting overall stability. Therefore, Xi Jinping and the CCP face visible and hidden enemies, surrounded by risks and crises. It's up to Xi to ensure social stability and political security, preventing incidents from disturbing the larger picture. The blame for these challenges lies with Xi, who has invited trouble upon himself, digging his own grave. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.